It's Trigger or Tool or Trigger Plus Tool Tuesday. Elle Ingalls here with the Pressure-Free Method. And steps 2 and 3 of the Pressure-Free Method are to identify triggers and use a tool in a 10-second window when you first start to feel the emotion so that you can break the stress cycle and not release the fight or flight stress hormones. So some people are adrenaline addicts. I used to be an adrenaline addict for sure. And then I totally dived into what would it be like if you weren't so hooked on adrenaline? How could you start to function better? And the answers were amazing, truly amazing, cognitively and physically. So let's dive into this a little bit. The trigger today we want to talk about is, do you ever feel like you're not prepared well? You haven't prepared well enough for something. You're not prepared going into a meeting, go into a competition, going into a test. And so you start to spin a story. I'm not prepared enough, begins the story. And then you start to fictionalize, imagine all the things that are going to happen because you're not ready enough. It's so easy, particularly if you're a high achiever, to feel like you haven't done enough prep work, even though you probably have. And you can't predict what's going to happen in the event. So you're definitely making up a story that can just get more and more, cause you to trigger more and more and more. And in the end, you don't know what's going to happen when you get to the meeting, when you get to the event, when you get to the test. So if you can notice the very first moment that you start to spin negatively, that you haven't prepared enough, that is the secret. And it's kind of hard because if this is a pattern you've had for a long time, you'll go into it pretty easily. So you need to be patient with yourself. I always tell that to my clients, be gentle, be generous, be patient, because you've had these habits of reaction for a long time. This idea of not being prepared enough probably started when you were really little. And you probably got the message from either a teacher or your parents, your guardians, someone who you cared about a lot, who made you feel like you weren't ready enough, or you were running late. You didn't have everything all together to go out the door to go to school in the morning. So you were not prepared. And that has come into your adult life or your teen life, if you're a teen watching this. And it can happen every single day that you feel that you're not prepared enough, that you're not good enough for the day. So we need to start first thing in the morning, because usually these if you've gotten to sleep, then you wake up in the morning, and if you start spinning on this, I'm not prepared for the day, I'm not prepared for the meeting, whatever it is that's coming up today, that's your moment. This is your moment, okay? I want you to cherish that moment, because in that moment, you get to make a choice. You, as a functioning human being, get to make a choice every single moment of the day. When we overreact and we're in fight or flight, it feels like we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice in the words we spit out. We don't have a choice in the actions we do, those things you wish you could take back. But first thing, when you first wake up, if you can start to catch it right then, you're going to feel like you have more choice. Does that make sense? Like, you're going to feel like you're more in control if in the first part of the morning, you don't trigger the stress response. Your brain is going to be able to think better. You're going to make better decisions. The other thing that's cool about the first thing of the morning is there are only a couple of ways that an adult brain can truly start to create new habits. There are a lot of books on habits that you can read, but I want to talk about magical times of day for a moment. And one of them is first thing in the morning. When you're first coming out of sleep, your brain, your subconscious and conscious are very connected. This is what I read in a book by Joe Dispenza. Your subconscious and conscious are very connected. And what you do in those very first few moments can really decide your day. It's like you're imprinting in your whole brain what's going on there. So here's a tool for you. When you first wake up in the morning, What do you see first? Have something really beautiful to look at. When I wake up in this condo, I look outside and I have a tree right outside my bedroom window, not my bedroom, but outside my bedroom window. There's a gorgeous tree. That tree is usually the first thing that I look at, and it's so beautiful. And the sky will be different colors. Even in the night, I can still see it because of the city lights. I can still see the tree. So look at something beautiful. If you are in a room with no windows or your view outside is nasty, get a beautiful poster or a painting or a piece of artwork, and that'll be the thing that you look at first thing in the morning. The next thing is, what do you hear? Notice what you first hear in the morning. Just tune into that. What's the very first thing that you hear? So here, I hear silence. Maybe I hear the furnace going. Maybe I hear the fridge out in the kitchen going. Like, it's very quiet here in the treehouse, and I love that. But you might hear birds outside, depending on the time of year. Just tune into what is the ambient sound. If you wake up to an alarm, make sure the alarm sound is beautiful. A lot of people go, wah, wah, Power Rangers, trying to get up. We have a funny one. My husband has marching cardinals, but craft that sound so it's something that you like, not something that blasts your heart and jolts you out of bed, because you're going to be in fight or flight then. So something beautiful. Next, what are the first thoughts that happen in your head? For millennia, humans woke up every morning, and the very first thing they did, do you know what it is? What's the first thing that humans did when they woke up, and the last thing they did just before they went to sleep, in a pattern in almost every culture all around the world and every religion? They prayed. Then in the counterculture in the 70s, we kind of threw that out the window. If I talk to people who grew up pre-1970, almost all of them said, yeah, I went to bed and said prayers before I went to bed. If I talk to people after that, it's fewer and fewer and fewer. So why? Because you really didn't know what was going to happen to you the next day. There was a lot of uncertainty for many centuries of humans living on this planet, a lot of uncertainty. So there were thoughts, and there was a prayer to keep us safe, to keep us okay. So what are the first words you put into your head in the morning? It's going to sound weird. I actually dream about making breakfast for my family. And when all 5 of us were still together, it was my favorite thing to make breakfast for my family every morning. Kind of like a Stepford wife. I get so much joy out of seeing people around the dining room table having breakfast. It just really sparks me. So I was actually thinking about what I'd be making that day, even though I make pretty much the same thing every day. So what are those first thoughts? The other first thoughts I have is it's going to be a beautiful day. That's one of the things I say. Say the word beautiful way too much. If you're my friend on Facebook, you'll always see that I write the word beautiful a lot. Well, I've been saying that word since I was a tiny girl, because I guess I just wake up thinking the world is beautiful. So what are those first words that you're going to put in your mind in the morning before you even get out of bed? Set yourself up for a win. A lot of us set ourselves up for being scared and being anxious and being afraid all day long. But what if you could set yourself up for a win just by taking a moment to come out of sleep in a really beautiful way? And then the next thoughts, you're going to be able to see them. And if it's, oh crap, I didn't prepare well enough for that, I want you to pause in that moment and actually smile, because you just noticed a trigger. Your trigger is that you feel unprepared for things. That's a major trigger for a lot of people. You are not alone. I've had it before, especially before big board meetings and concerts, and but if you can pause and know that it's going to be okay, no matter how prepared you are, it's going to be okay. Because if you can stay more pressure-free, you're going to have more function. So it's 8:10. I'm going to close out. I wish you a great pressure-free day, and see if you can get a little handle on letting go of that feeling unprepared. And what you do first thing in the morning can really set you up for a win. Have a great one. Bye.